So on this channel, which is called the Rich Mom Mindset, the rich mom is usually careful with the type of phrases or the type of sentences she uses around her kids. And as single mothers, sometimes we can get stressed out. Sometimes we can get really, really frustrated that we say certain things to our kids, and sometimes we condition their mind on negative things. And sometimes it could also affect your confidence. It could affect the way your kids could perceive you, or the kids could perceive the family. So in this video, I'm going to talk about sentences or phrases that we shouldn't use around our kids. On this channel, our goal is to make sure that single mothers live their best life, single mothers can achieve their dreams, and single mothers can also move about and do the things that they want to do without having their children be a hindrance or a barrier to their future. I'm a single mom myself. I am 30 with a 13-year-old boy. So if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I don't want to forget what I'm about to say in this video. One of the sentences that you shouldn't use around your kids is, "I don't have enough money." I always see a lot of moms who are financially struggling, or broke moms, use this sentence around their kids. Obviously, rich moms don't use this around their kids because they've got, but you would think rich moms don't use that money because they've got money in the bank account, but they don't use that because money is just not a limitation for them to get anything or to do anything that they want. Now, the rich mom mindset, on the other hand, is not a woman who has plenty of money in her bank account, but is a woman who knows that the current situation is not a permanent situation. So instead of telling your child that you don't have money, let them know that you are saving it, or you're expecting some money. Because the thing about it is, if you keep telling your kids that you don't have money, and yet your kids see you spend money on food, spend money on cars, spend money on groceries, you're spending money on buying yourself clothes, going out to drink, your kids are seeing you do all these things, and then they're wondering, well, if you don't have money, then how come we're still spending money and we're buying this and we're buying that? And when your kids get older, they will think about it, and then they'll say, oh, so mom did have money, but her priority was not to get us what we want, rather it was this, and that. So we have to be careful. You don't want your kids to think that you're broke. And if you truly are struggling financially, you just need to explain the situation to your kids and let them know that this is not a permanent situation. We will come out of it, but you just have to give me time and we will get there. The next one is, we are broke. And do not use that sentence that, oh, we're broke, we don't have this, we don't have that, because now you're setting limiting beliefs in your child's mind, which isn't really good. And when you set limiting belief in your child's mind, then your child won't grow up to go for what they really want. And whenever they want to go for what they really want, when they see the figures or when they see the price tag, then they're a bit like, whoa, let me not bother and let me not continue with that. Meanwhile, there are other ways to get what you want. Sometimes you might not have the cash in your bank account, you might not have the money at hand, but God can find someone to bless you with it. God can send you a credit card. God can find many ways to get you what you want without you having the cash in hand. And I'm someone that could testify to that. The next thing you don't want to say to your kid is, oh, you look so fat. The word fat is quite sensitive when you're a kid. When you're an adult and someone calls you fat, you're not really triggered by it, because at the end of the day, everyone's got fat. Some people got 5% fat, some people got 20% fat. A little bit of fat in the body is necessary. If you don't have any fat in your body at all, it's an unhealthy thing. But when you're a kid and someone calls you fat, it really does affect your confidence, especially when it comes from a parent. It hits in a different way. So instead of telling your kids that they're fat, you let them know that, okay, we need to get fit, we need to get active so that you can be in the best shape possible at your age. That sounds so much nicer than telling your kid, oh, you're fat. Because if your kid is truly fat, somebody in school is definitely bullying them about it. Somebody in school is definitely teasing them about it. And the last thing they want to hear is to hear that from their mom or from their dad. The next point that I have here is, you are ugly. A parent should never, ever, ever tell their kids that they are ugly, even if you know deep down in your heart that your kid is ugly. You should never say it, because that ugly kid could grow up and be the finest one in the family. That ugly kid could grow up and glow up. That ugly kid could end up being the superstar or being the world's greatest something something. Okay, so even if you know in your heart, because let's face it, some parents know in their heart that, okay, this one's ugly, but your firstborn might be the finest one, or your last one might be the most beautiful girl in the family, or your son might be the most ugliest one in the family. We all know the one that's ugly in the family, and we all know the one that is good looking. But you are not there to confirm that to your kids. You're not supposed to confirm that. Instead, what you need to do is to invest and let them know that they need to moisturize, brush your teeth, this and that. And if your kid does ask you if they're ugly, even though you know that they're ugly, you don't confirm that. Okay, you can tell them that they're all beautiful in God's image, and people's perception of beautiful and people's definition of ugly is different and is very subjective. The next sentence that we shouldn't use is, oh, this looks horrible on you. If your kid is wearing an outfit that looks horrible, or they bought something that they like but you think it's horrible, there's a nicer way to say that. You could say, oh, it's all right, but this one is better. So they know with that response, they know that, okay, she doesn't really think it's all that. Okay, but for you to say, oh, that's horrible, it's just harsh. Remember, kids are sensitive people. They are very sensitive, and every single thing you say, every single word you say gets registered, especially from mothers. It gets registered and it's kept somewhere in their brain and their memory. The next sentence that we shouldn't use is always teasing your child about the shape of their head, the shape of their face, the shape of their lips. Some in my culture, like some people will say, oh, look at your head. Your head is so big. Look at your head. Your head is like a coconut head. Your head is this. Your head is that. That kid is yours. That kid came out of your room. That kid came in between your legs. So if you're teasing your kids about the shape of their head, the shape of their eyes, and you're making fun of them about how they look, you're making fun of yourself, because that's your kid. They came out of you. You understand what I'm saying? So whatever comes out of you, you don't make fun of it. You learn to embrace it. You learn to love it, and you learn to be kind to it. The next one is cursing. You shouldn't be cursing at your kids. You shouldn't be using filthy language at your kids, because when you do, one day they will use that word back to you, and you cannot stop them, because growing up, they've heard you use those words to them. And I've seen kids where they say, oh, in my family, cursing is normal and we don't take it as a big deal. But the problem is, when these kids grow up and they go into the corporate world, or they go to work and they use these type of words, that's when they're going to realize that this isn't really right. And just because it's norm in my family doesn't mean it's norm in the real life. The next one is, oh, look at you. You look so big. We have to be careful, especially when you have a daughter. Some of you have daughters who are fat. And if your daughter is fat, if you have a kid that is fat, as a parent, that is your fault. That is a sign that you don't have enough knowledge on nutrition. Because if you had enough knowledge on nutrition, then your daughter should not be that fat. If you had enough knowledge on fitness, then you should be finding ways for your kids to be active. Fat kids are a result of parents who lack knowledge in the department of nutrition. That's all I'm going to say about that. The next one is, oh, when I was your age, I was doing da 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 da. Sometimes you can get carried away. And even me, there's times where I've gotten carried away, where I'll tell my son and say, oh, but when I was your age, I was able to do that. And I was able to do this. And sometimes we just say it, but to somebody else who's receiving that information, it comes across as comparison. It comes across as you're comparing me. And the truth is, just because I was able to do it at 12, that doesn't mean my son will be able to do it at 12. Just because you were able to do that at 16, that doesn't mean your kid is capable or mentally healthy to do that at 16. So we should be careful not to compare ourselves to our children. We are not in competition with our children. Our children is not in competition with us in the past. Your kid is not you, and you are not your kid. Both of you are two different people. The next one is saying things like, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're not wise, you're foolish. These type of words can make a child lose a lot of confidence, and we have to be very, very careful. If you feel like your child is not wise, it's because you're not giving them words of wisdom. If you feel like your child is foolish, it's because you're not giving them words of wisdom. You're not teaching them how to be wise. You're not teaching them what to do in certain situations. As a parent, you are like a mini God to your kids. So it's your responsibility to teach them the reality of life. It's your responsibility to wisen them up. It's not for you to just say, that's your error, that's your error, you're not wise here, can't do this. Growing up, I was told constantly every single day by my family that I'm not wise, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. And even when I gave birth to a kid, the one statement that hit so bad, when I gave birth to a kid, to my son, sorry, when my son was growing up, someone in my family was like, oh, Dami, your son is so smart. I know he got that from his dad. And to me, it felt like you're indirectly telling me that I'm dumb and that I'm stupid and that I'm not wise. And that comment is so rude. That comment was mentioned 13 years ago. Until this day, I still remember that comment like yesterday. It hit deep. It really hit deep because you just feel unworthy. You feel like it's such an insultive thing to say. So insultive thing to say. And so that's why I'm doing this video, because some of you wonder why your kids grow up and be so rude to you because you've said so many insultive stuff during their childhood years. And now they're saying it back to you and you can't handle the information. You're triggered. Every information, every truth they're telling you, you're triggered because you haven't done any inner work around it, right? So we have to be careful. Be very, very careful. It's not everything that comes to your thought that you need to say out with your mouth, because the problem is once it comes out of your mouth, that's it. You can't take it back. Even if you say sorry, even if you say I didn't mean it, or it's not supposed to come out like that, it's out. There's nothing you can do about it. It's out, it's out. Now the other person has to do so much, inner work and meditation and healing to kind of get it out of their system, because the damage has been done. And the next one, which is the last one, which is important for single mothers who are on this road or on this journey to live a successful life, is to stop referencing the poor children to your kids. Oh my gosh. Listen, growing up, I was told, oh, you should be grateful that you're able to eat this because there's some children in Africa who are not able to eat that. Let me tell you something, okay? There's things called standards in life, okay? It is standard for a child to be born and to be able to eat. It is standard for a kid to be born and to have clothes to wear. It is standard for a kid to be able to live in a house and to be able to have access to food and to TV. That is the standard, okay? So when you're here saying, oh, but there's some kids who don't have TV, who don't have food to eat, who don't do this, who don't do that, that isn't the standard. Compare the lifestyle to the standard. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's backward thinking. Now, yes, I'm supposed to be grateful that I have access to food. I'm supposed to be grateful that I can live, that I can breathe. I'm under somebody's roof. My parents, help me out. Yes, we're supposed to be grateful. But to compare and say, oh, but some people, no. The standard is you're supposed to have access to food every day anyway. So stop comparing your kids to children who are living below them. Stop that. Let them understand that there are children out here who are actually not suffering, who are doing well, who do have parents who actually help them a lot. Compare the lifestyle to what is better than them and not what's below. because we're not trying to go back to below. We're trying to go up. We're trying to grow up. Does that make sense? So please be careful when you're comparing the lifestyle. Don't compare your kids' lifestyle to somebody below, rather up, so that they can aim up. They can imagine upgrading and going upwards than going downwards. Okay, so that's it for this video. Hit the like button. If there's any contribution you want to make to this video, make sure you leave a comment so other people can learn from it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.